Nerd alert! Learning is important, right?
Yes, exactly. What a bunch of nerds.
Nerd alert!
Right.
Marketing Architects.
Hello, and welcome to the Marketing Architects, a research-first podcast dedicated to answering your toughest marketing questions. I'm Elena Jasper. I run the marketing team here at Marketing Architects, and I'm joined by my co-host, Rob DeMars, the Chief Product Architect of Misfits and Machines.
I am so ready to nerd out.
Perfect, because we're back with your weekly Nerd Alert. Every week, I'll take a deep dive into academic marketing research and translate its complex ideas into simple, understandable language for Rob and, of course, for all of you. Are you ready to nerd out, Rob?
Please and thank you.
As always, I'll link the research we cover in the episode notes. This week, I read Mere Measurement Plus: How Solicitation of Open-Ended Positive Feedback Influences Customer Purchase Behavior. This is by Sterling Bone, Catherine Lemon, Clay Voorhees, Katie Lillianquist, Paul Fombel, Kristen Detienne, and Bruce Money.
That's a lot of people.
Lot of smarty pants. So Rob, when is the last time that you filled out a customer feedback survey, and did you only fill it out because you were unhappy?
Boy, the last time I filled out a survey was for a car dealership after I had the oil changed. And they actually called me up right before I took the survey. Like, they know they're going to be sending it to you. And they said, hey, did you have a good experience? And I'm like, yeah, it was pretty good. Great. Just so you know, you're going to be getting a survey, and anything less than a 10 is failure. I get that one all the time from the same dealership. It's like, okay, yep, no, just so you know, you're getting a survey. Anything less than a 10 is considered a failing grade.
Did you give them 10s?
I did. Absolutely, I did. I felt bad at that point because they'd asked me. They were like, hey, did you have a good experience? If I would have said, no, that'd be kind of mean of me.
This is like nearly a perfect example for this episode, which never happened. So I'm so excited. All right, Rob, did you know that the way that that company asked you for feedback could actually cause you to buy more from them in the future? So there might be a motive behind them asking you to give them 10s. Yes, besides just, we want good reviews. So that's what this study is about. The researchers explored how starting a customer feedback survey with an open-ended positive question, it's not the exact same, but kind of similar, essentially asking your customer what went well during their experience can significantly impact their future buying behavior. So they conducted 2 different studies. Study 1 was a longitudinal field experiment, and I had no idea what that meant when I first read it, so I had to look it up. It's a research method used to study the effects of an intervention or treatment over an extended period of time in a real-world setting. So unlike a lab experiment, which are conducted in controlled environments, field experiments take place in natural settings where participants are not aware they're part of the experiment. So in this case, they had customers of a national retail chain answer a survey about what went well during their purchase experience, and they had some who just completed a normal survey that didn't have that what went well question in it. And they looked at these customers 1 year after they completed either survey to see how their purchasing behavior changed. Customers who completed the survey that had that positive feedback solicitation at the start spent 8.25% more than customers who did not answer that same survey. And that's a pretty big difference from just tweaking like an intro question to your survey.
Right.
So then for study 2, they looked at a different category. Now they looked at B2B software, and they shortened the time frame, so just 30 days. They also had multiple treatment groups to look at the gains of solicitation, measurement, and solicitation frame. So now they had like more treatment groups, and they found out that just inviting customers to participate in a survey increases spending, even if the survey wasn't completed. Completing that standard survey also increased spending, but the highest spending increase occurred when the survey started with that open-ended positive question. To be specific, that open-ended positive feedback request resulted in 32.88% increase in spending relative to a survey with no open-ended positive feedback request. So this seems to work across B2C and B2B and across different time frames. So Rob, curious what you think. Why does asking customers what went well during their purchase experience make them more likely to buy from that brand in the future?
It reminds me of Robert Cialdini's, we love his book Influence, and one of his principles is commitment and consistency. And this kind of reminds me that when you commit to having a certain perspective on something, you want to follow through with it because you don't want to be a liar. So in some ways, maybe there's just like this subconscious belief that you've created within yourself to make sure that you continue to support the opinion that you conveyed earlier.
That's a really good one. Like that feeling of wanting to be consistent with what you say. And yeah, I like that. The researchers, they also believe that it works for psychological reasons. And I'll share a few of those. So one that they talked about was memory construction. When customers recall positive aspects of their experience, they reconstruct their memories in a more favorable light. I read something about that. I can't remember what book it was, but they were talking about memories and how it's actually kind of makes me distressed when I think about it, but our memories are actually so different than what happened. And your memories can totally change in your brain. For example, say I had a memory from when I was little, like baking with my mom. And then one day I'm in a bakery and I smell something and it reminds me of that day. When that happens, I'm staring at someone with a red shirt. All of a sudden in my memory, my mom could be wearing a red shirt. And that's how I remember it. I think it's true. They have that happen in court a lot where some people will have memories that feel like so real to them, but they were actually reconstructed by their brain from like a current experience.
You've just described every memory I've ever had. I feel like I'm always told I remembered it wrong.
Yeah, that's the worst when that happens. When like you say something and someone's like, that's not what happened. But hey, they could be wrong. We don't really know who's right and wrong. So that's one reason. And the second is attitude reinforcement. So when you express positive memories, it reinforces positive feelings. When a customer articulates what they liked, those positive sentiments become more accessible and influential in guiding their future behavior. And they had one more, which is the mere measurement effect. The act of asking for feedback just alone can influence behavior. The study actually takes it a step further by showing that the nature of the feedback request, specifically starting with positive solicitation, can amplify that effect. But hey, what can you do with this information? Just have a survey at all. It turns out a feedback survey just on its own is probably going to help, but you could also easily revamp your customer surveys to open with a positive, open-ended question. You could also, I liked this idea, you could train employees to begin interactions by asking what went well. So maybe a checkout at a grocery store, they could start with, hey, what did you enjoy about your experience? What did you find that you liked? Just that in itself could help improve purchasing in the future.
Does this work on teenagers?
You could conduct that experiment. I don't really know any teenagers, but I'd imagine they're a special type of person. All right, Rob GPT. I liked this one. Our Rob GPT said, imagine the study as a cooking show where just inviting people to taste your dish makes them hungry, but asking them to recall their favorite flavors makes them devour the whole meal. By adjusting how you present the tasting experience, you can turn casual tasters into enthusiastic food lovers.
I love it. I'm already strategizing how I can use this on my kids, so I'm taking notes.
I love this one because sometimes as marketing research, you finish it and you're like, all right, that was really cool. And now my brain has that, but what am I actually going to do with this? This one is so simple. And it feels nice too. Like I don't feel like it's manipulative. It's just a great way to have people remember things that went well. That's it for this episode of The Marketing Architects. We'd like to thank Ayana Klaphaki for producing the show and Taylor De Los Reyes for editing. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, and if you find the show valuable, please leave us a rating and review. And if you'd like to hear more from us, subscribe to our weekly email newsletter. It's built for marketers seeking research-first analysis of the latest trends. You can go to marketingarchitects.com/newsletter to subscribe. Now go forth and build great marketing.
What did you love about cleaning your room?
For some reason, that doesn't sound like that's good, but I don't know. I guess you could apply this to life too.
I'm putting that one in my pocket, Elena.
Marketing Architects.